Good morning, everyone. Very warm welcome to Self-Care Society. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today. Hi, Danica. Hi, Kim. Hi, Erica. Hello, hello. Welcome. I hope that you guys are having an amazing morning so far. Happy March. We are in March now. Last week we saw each other and we were still in February. Hi, Dee. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, everyone. Such a pleasure to have you here. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Lindsay. Welcome, everyone. All right. If you haven't met me before, my name is Gabby Lucia. I am Dutch Cuban. I am based in Miami, and I have been with Self Care Society for almost exactly 5 years, which is incredible. Wow, guys. Guys, isn't that insane that we have been here? The OGs, the new people, like we are a big family. So it's just awesome that we get to continue to do this amazing stuff together. Hi, Esther. All right. Hi, Caitlin. Good morning. All right, so we're going to get started with our quotes. As always, I do more than one because, when there's so much goodness, why not share it all? Annie, hello, Annie. How are your babies doing? Okay, let me share this in the chat and then we can read through them together as we always do. So the first quote says, I beg of you to have patience with everything unresolved in your heart and to try to love the questions themselves. Do not now seek the answers, which cannot be given to you now because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps then, someday in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answer. By Raina Maria Rilke in a book called Letters to a Young Poet. Wow, I love it, love it, love it. And then the second quote, very simply, which you probably all know, is Que será, será. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que será, será. Which is that well-known song by Doris Day. And I just thought that both of the quotes complement each other so well because there's a certain playfulness and just joy and love to Doris Day's song. And then there's, the true human experience of I have questions in my heart and I want to live in the now and I want to make the most of where I am now. So I would love to hear, is there a part of this quote that stands out to you? Is there a phrase? Is there a wording that really, really speaks to you in terms of just maybe what you're going through right now? Did it really poignantly hit your heart? I definitely relate to, just try to love the questions themselves. We might as well just love the questions themselves, Carrie says, good morning. Yay, good morning, Carrie. Annie says her babies are 2 and 3.5 now. Oh my gosh, see, that's how long we've been here. I remember when you were pregnant still. Oh, amazing. Amazing, amazing. So yeah, let us know in the chat what parts of these quotes stood out to you, particularly if there's any key word that really stood out to you. Annie said, live the questions now. Yes, 100%. Amazing. Live your way into the answer, says Lindsay. Yeah. All right. So with that, Kim says, cannot be given to you now because you would not be able to live them. I know, right? I love it. There's just like, you can read that quote over and over again and like let it sink in and be like, oh, wow, like this is so real. This is so applicable. Try to love the questions themselves. Amazing. So it looks like we all gravitated to the same phrase. Love it. All right. With that, we are going to do a quick inner check as we always do. We ask ourselves, how are we feeling this morning? So on a scale of 1 to 10, ask your body, check in, do a landscape, scan and say, how rested are you feeling today? How grateful are you feeling? And how hopeful? How hopeful, how grateful, and how rested. So I'm going to share this in the chat. So for example, I wrote 7 for rested, 9 for grateful, and 11.7 for hopeful. Honoring Noel with the decimals. You know how it is. So we will spend just a second here so we can all just check in with ourselves so we know what our starting point is for the class. 8. Jess says rested 7, grateful 9, hopeful 8. Caitlin 6, 10, 8. Carrie rested 9, 10, 6. Great. We're just noticing where we're at. Remember, there's no judgment. All we do is, see where we're at and see, okay, so now that I know this, what do I want to do to change that? How can I be graceful and kind to myself and really boost this variable, boost this feeling in my life? 10, 10, 10. Love it. Esther says 6, 8, 10. Annie says, I need some of your hopefulness, Gabby. Anyone else feeling the heaviness in the world recently? Yeah, of course. There's so much going on, and, it's hard to stay separated from what everyone is feeling around the globe. So thank you for bringing that, my love. No worries, Danica. It was my bad. Cindy says 10 out of 10 out of 10. Amazing. All right, so we are going to dive into our next question. And we've done this a couple of times before in previous exercises, and I think that with our class quote from today, it's just even more relevant. But we've all heard, the phrase, when I pray, coincidences happen, and when I don't, they don't. And we can apply this to, the area of questions. When I ask questions, I receive answers and clarity, but when I don't even ask the questions, I don't receive that clarity. So we're just going to make a brainstorm list. What are some just questions that you have right now in life? In the season of life that you're in, what's on the in the forefront of your mind or in the back of your mind? What are some things that you're wondering about, regarding the future, regarding specific outcomes, specific situations, how they might unfold, what you should do about them? We're just going to put it all out on paper because it brings just so much clarity and comfort when we see things in front of us rather than when they're just like loose in our mind, in the back of our mind, without like being pinpointed, right? So I'm going to share this in the chat. We will spend probably 3 or 4 minutes here just having a good brainstorm. All right. Oh, I forgot to read the questions. Sorry, my example. So for example, what direction do I want to take in my career would be a question. What living situation decision will be the best long-term? How can I trust God more in this current dating season? Should I go to the missions trip that we're going to do in Greece? And when should I get flights for Europe for our annual family reunion and my little brother's graduation, right? So these are just, some are logistical questions, some are longer term questions, some are, abstract questions. So whatever comes to mind, when, where, why, what, how, what's going to happen with XYZ, when am I going to do this, right? So we're just going to spend some time here really, really diving into what are the questions you have in life right now. And enjoy it. Have fun. If you are still writing, keep writing. Feel free to share in the chat. What are some of those questions? What are just some of the questions that have been in your mind that you were just able to write down? Also, I'm happy to report that yesterday I played pickleball for the first time ever. Cindy, I thought that you would be proud because you guys always talk about pickleball and I didn't understand what the hype was about, and now I get it. It's fun. It's pretty fun. Like very short, very small court, like really dopamine based. So that was great. That was fun. Oh, Cindy's so proud. I love it. You guys are hilarious. Yay, pickleball. All right, so feel free to share your questions in the chat. Let's see, Danica says, how can I find even more balance in work and motherhood? Where am I holding myself back without even realizing it because it's so subtle? Ooh, now that's a deep question. I love that. The better the questions, the better the answers, right? Kim says, where should we go to celebrate our 25th anniversary? That's a fun question. Amazing. All right, so feel free to share. What are some of those questions that came to mind for you? Sarah says, how can I continue the momentum and energy beyond this week? Yeah, lovely. Yeah, I really like that. The better the questions, the better the answers. Dee says, how do I balance a new marriage, new city, and traveling so much for work? Wow. Yeah, it's so real. Savoring the questions. Carrie says, how can I mind shift from things not in control to things that are? Oh, Carrie, it's almost like you know where this class is going. This is amazing. I feel like that often happens in this class, that someone will write something and then it's like, oh, that's exactly the exercise that we are about to do. Cindy says, why can't I just complete the declutter? Annie says, what will my book be about? Look at these awesome questions. Wow, so amazing. And I'm learning so much about each of you, your heart, your character, your hopes, your dreams, just from these questions, your priorities, your values. See how incredible, like how incredibly revealing questions can be. All right, so we're gonna dive into the next question. So some of these we might not know the answer to. Some of these, they require us to sit down and brainstorm and, spend time really diving into. But revisiting our class quote, which said, have patience with everything that's unresolved and try to love the questions themselves. Do not seek the answers. The point is to live the questions now. Perhaps someday in the future, you will then gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answer. Beautiful. See how that applies to, whatever question that you just wrote down. And we're going to learn to live in the now and savor the questions and take an inventory of what's in our hands and what things are out of our hands. What is in our control and what is not in our control. And how can we be clear on, both things so that we're not trying to control things that we can't control, and so that we find joy and comfort in the things that we can control, right? Because I don't know about you, but I feel like we really, really lose hope and get exhausted when we try to control things that were never meant to be in our hands, right? So we might as well give ourselves the grace of providing that clarity up front. So we're going to start by making a list of the things that we might as well not worry about since they are out of our hands and since they're not under our control. So it can be anything that comes to mind. It can be related to your specific question. It can be anything that brings you comfort, to just say like, oh, this is out of my hands. So mine starts a little funny. Out of my hands, inflation, the housing market, out of my hands. What others think of me is out of my hands. The decisions that other people make is out of my hands. How people respond to my actions is out of my hands. I cannot control others, right? So off the bat, that's already like, whoo, I can relax because I will never be able to have control over those things. And I just let people be people, right? So let's spend 2 minutes or so. Oh, cool. I haven't read that book by Mel Robbins. So let's spend some time just making a list. What are all the things that are out of your hands? And have fun with it. You can be funny, you can be serious, you can mention things directly related to your question or completely unrelated. We'll spend 2 minutes here. All right. If you are still writing, keep writing. What are some of those things that are out of your hands? Some of those variables that are out of your hands that may be related to this question. Maybe, the timeline feels out of your hands. Something at work feels out of your hands, right? Things that are just not in your control and that you might as well not worry about. I love that Kim said, other travelers in airports, LOL. Oh yeah, how full TSA pre-check is, how full, like all these things. What oils they use when they cook in restaurants. I wish I had more control over that. Oh, Danica says the weather and how that impacts my garden. Oh yeah, of course. What anyone else chooses to do or say. So good. What else? What else? What are some things that we have no control over and that we can find joy in not having control over, or at least peaceful surrender in not having control over? Feel free to share in the chat. Let's see. And then, in the meantime, as you guessed it, we are also going to make a list of all the things that are in our hands, right? Because there are a lot of things that are under our control and that we can influence and that are within our agency to influence. But I just want to wait a minute to give everyone time to share in the chat. Carrie says, my kids' lives, the stock market, what government is currently doing to dismantle our democracy, the particular harm to trans people, what this new job will look like. Oh, yes. Lindsay says, timing in life, weather, phases, life stages, what others do. Yeah. Timing in life. Oh, isn't that just one that we all come up against? Esther says, what other people think of me, what my family does and believes. Ooh, wow, yes. How many times do we just like worry about our family members and just wish that we could help them, that we could just like help them be more, do things that are better for them and take care of themselves better and be more disciplined, or whatever area that you can so clearly see, like, oh, I just wish I could help them here. Cindy says, I find this hard because when I come up with something, I think of just something little that might tweak it. I think I need to release my expectations a little more. Yeah. Pamela says, my mother's declining health. Yeah, I can really relate to that with my grandmother who has dementia. And it's just like, you can't control it. And you just have to pray for the best outcome and for the best care and make the most of the time that we have with them. Very, very, very real. All right. So if you're still writing, keep writing, and please share in the chat. And anyone who wants to go ahead and get started on making a list of the things that are in your hands, feel free to share. Feel free to write. So for example, I wrote, in my hands, my thoughts, my actions, my decisions, my acts of kindness, what relationships I choose to make time for, giving my body movement and exercise, my words of encouragement to others, and my prayers. These are all things that are within my hands and within my influence, right? So spend some time writing, what are those things that are in your hands that you can find comfort in knowing, okay, like this I can work on, this I have some agency over, this is in my hands. Let me see. And we're just going to spend 2 minutes, 3 minutes maybe on this list, and have fun with it. Enjoy. keep writing. If you'd like to share in the chat, feel free to share. What are some of those things that are in your hands? What are some of those things that are in your hands? And I also just want to say that, Jesse, I saw your message in the timeline, and I just wanted to say that you are in my prayers, and I know that you're in the prayers of many people in our community, and that we love you, and that we're holding you through the season that you're going through, and that we're here for you to lean on. So I just wanted to say that my heart is with you, and we love you. Yeah. So yeah, share your answers. What is in your hands? What do you feel, is those things that you can influence, those things that make you feel okay, like this I can work with. So Danica says, what seeds I plant in my garden, how I choose to spend or not spend my money. Oh yeah, true. That's a good one. What I allow to come into my home, though sometimes I act like I'm not in control of that. Who and what I allow to have my attention, like stopping reading a billboard mid-thought when I realize I don't want to consume it. Tell me about it. You don't want to know about the billboards here in Miami, please. Oh. Cindy says, love what I allow to have my attention. Elizabeth says, how I talk to myself. Kim says, how I spend my money and energy, the words I speak to myself and others. My prayer life, what I eat and drink to fuel my body. Annie says, how I speak to myself, how much time I spend outside and in nature, the new things I try, my compassion. Amazing. These are beautiful. Elizabeth says, where I put my energy. Caitlin says, working at a company that aligns with my values, connection with my community, my support, how I nurture my mind and body, my finances. Amazing. Esther says, how I spend my time, who I spend my time with, how open I am, how aware I am of my body and what it needs, what I eat, how I move my body, how I act towards and around others. And Kristen says, how I nurture myself, how I celebrate. Ooh, so good. I really am gonna have to copy some of these into my own notes, guys. Don't you guys do that when you see someone else's answer and you're just like, yep, saving that one. Sarah says, how I show up, feel like this radiates out to so many areas. Yep. So true. All right, so I know that we are on time, but there's one last exercise that I want to do to seal this class, to just pull everything together, and totally understand if you have to run. I'm sorry that sometimes we go over. I just can't get enough of spending time with you, and I love your answers so much that I want to read all of them, which isn't always, time mindful of time. But the last question that we're going to do to really wrap this up is write yourself an encouraging statement to bring you hope and comfort. So, for example, I wrote, Dear God, and you can write, life, universe, whatever it is. Love you, Carrie. Whatever it is that you connect to, a higher power. For me, it just so happens to be God. So I wrote, Dear God, these are all the things that are in my hands. Give me the wisdom to steward them well and the inspiration to make the most of them. Thank you for being on my side and always working things out for the best. You know my heart. You know my hopes. You know my worries. Everything that I can't control, I put it in your hands and I hand it over. And I lean back into rest, knowing that you always have a solution for everything. Everything has always worked out. Here's to joyful surrender. Love you too, Kim. Catch you guys later. No worries if you have to run. We love you and we bless you and we hope you have an amazing day. But yeah, so anyone who wants to just stick around for a minute and write down what is an encouraging statement, what is a phrase that you want to hold on to. You can also write a paragraph, whatever it is, just for comfort, just something that you can, hold on as a gem going into the rest of this month, the rest of this year. Joyful surrender. So feel free to share in the chat. If you are still here, thank you. I know that we don't usually go over. I just really wanted to give us space to just share one last thing in the chat if you'd like. And yeah, just to support each other in that encouraging statement. Danica says, Dear God in life, help me to make the next right choice every day towards the vision I have for myself and the even bigger, brighter one that you have for me. Amen. I can handle it and I know I am supported in each step. Oh, so beautiful. So, so, so beautiful. Yeah, if there's anyone else who wants to share, either if you want to come on screen or if you just want to share in the chat, maybe just one phrase. And if not, no worries. If you have to run, we love you. We hope that you have an amazing day. I hope that you guys enjoyed this class, that you feel more uplifted, feel more grounded, feel more grace for yourself, and just more hopeful expectation. And that you know that you're not alone in all the questions that you have, because we all have questions, and that the point is to love the questions and to live them, live life itself right now. And that you will someday live into the answers to those questions, which is wonderful. Thank you so much, Jess. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Dan. Love you guys. Have an amazing, amazing Friday or Friday. I love you all, and I can't wait to see you again soon. Thank you. Mwah. You guys are the best. Thank you, Nicole. You too, my love. Bye, everyone.